You owe yourself your career. You owe yourself growth. You owe yourself progression if you want it. And if you're here and you're listening to this, you probably do. You probably think you could do more, deserve more, whether that's promotions, career progression, development, more money, whatever that is. No one's going to give it to you though. You have to go and get it. And if the opportunity isn't where you are, how long are you going to wait for it to arrive? How long are you going to wait for the opportunity to be handed to you before you go, do you know what? It's not here. It's over there. I'm going. I'm moving. I'm going to take a chance. My name's Tas. I'm a woman. I'm brown. I grew up in Birmingham. I was raised by a single mum on free school meals. I've spent the last few years navigating corporate exec life. And what I've learned over the years is there is a set of corporate rules nobody is saying out loud. And that's why I created this podcast. This space is for us to unpack those rules and to help you figure out how you want to navigate the system and engage with it. I would love for you to follow on Office Real Talk on Instagram or TikTok and subscribe on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts so we can get more of us listening and winning in the corporate world. Hi everybody and welcome to today's episode of Office Real Talk with Tas. Today I want to get into something that is probably the thing that most people want help on. Recently I did a reel on TikTok. Yeah, I'm now on TikTok. The comments and the likes on the comments were exponential compared to anything else I've posted. Today's topic is, when do I know it's time to move? Move from my job, make a pivot, go and do something different, get out of the place. And how do I go about doing that? What do I need to do to make that happen? That is something that nobody teaches us. It's something that we don't really have a framework for. There's so much out there in terms of information, but practical, real, gritty actions that we need to take and what we need to lean into is, I think, something people really struggle with. So that's what I want to try and bring into today's episode and talk about and get into with you. And thank you to everybody who asked me questions on that and have been messaging me on that because you have inspired today's episode. So let's get into it. You go to work every day, you work really hard, but for a while, you get a feeling that something's not right. And that feeling can get louder and more overpowering over time. You know you're not excited about work. You are not learning as much as you were. You don't have the same passion, but you're still staying. And every day that you stay longer, that not excited feels like it's getting stronger and it turns into disassociation or complacency or boredom and sometimes dread. So many people get the Sunday scaries because they're going to a job that they don't want to go to anymore. The thing is that nobody tells you in the corporate world, there's no right time to leave. You have to make a decision on when that time is for you, and it's deeply personal. No one is ever going to make that decision for you. And let me tell you that based on my experience of conversations I've had with some very, very, very senior people who have said, don't rush, take your time, have a think. And that is not what I wanted to hear. And that is not what I did. Because the truth is, no one can tell you when it's time for you to move. People can give you options and alternatives, but no one can actually be specific with you. It's personal to you and you have to make a decision. But there is a cost to staying too long. And that cost is progression. And that cost is earning potential. And that cost can sometimes be peace. It can sometimes be sanity. It can sometimes be your own happiness. I have moved organizations 6 times in my adult career. Every time I've moved, I've never felt ready. But I've known that I've had a feeling that's telling me I need to go. I know what that feeling is. I know when it shows up with me and I can identify it and put a name on it. And then I take action. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, of how you identify that before you start taking action. So for me, what tends to happen is after I stay in a role for a few years, I normally have a big plan of what I want to achieve, in a role. So I'll have kind of a roadmap. I always go into every job actually thinking about, what do I want to write on my CV when I've completed this job? How will I know when I'm done? Now, the truth is you never really know when you're done. You can stay in jobs for 10, 12, 15, 18 years. I know people who do that. Could never be me, but I know people who do that. So I always go into every new job going, what do I want this to add to my CV? And what do I want to say about this job when I leave? And I think about kind of 3 or 4 bullet points, data points that I want to have said. It could be a growth number, how much you want to have grown the business. It could be how much you want to have influenced experience and external market positioning. It could be around people and team and engagement results. And it could also be around cost out and income protection. They're the kind of things I would think about. So I think about those big macro pictures. And I think if I was going to write a press release about my time in the job, what are the 4 or 5 sound bites I would want someone to say? And when I start any job, and normally before I apply, but when I start any job, I will write down what are those things I want to be able to say about myself at the end. Then when I'm in the job and I'm setting up the objectives, the OKRs, the KPIs, whatever you want to call it that your organizational framework is, I validate that the things I want to say align to the OKRs. If they don't, I normally change the things I want to say rather than changing the OKRs. And then I work really hard over a period of time to achieve those things, the organizational metrics I need to hit. And I think about how I'm going to translate them into my CV. I always check in with myself on that. When I know I'm close to hitting them, I know it's time to go. Now, it's not just about hitting them. I always aim for a period of kind of consistency and maintenance, because you can't just go into a job, transform it, hope the numbers land, and then walk away. That's not where you learn how to run a business. That's not where you learn how the real grit happens. But there'll be a period of time where I'm like, okay, I've done this. It's steady state. The team can do this for themselves. We're making good progress. We're sustaining our position. In fact, we're accelerating where we were. It's now time for someone else to take the lead on this. They can take it to the next level. Do I want that to be me? And I ask myself that question. So it's when I have achieved what I wanted to achieve is number one. The second is, am I still learning new things? And you'll always learn new things every day. You learn a lot about what not to do as well from people as much as you learn what to do. I'm always picking up new things every day. But am I learning the things I want to learn? Am I learning at the same rate? Am I learning the kind of things that excite me, that want to progress me? Then I check in with, how do I feel about coming to work every day? Most of the time, and for me, my happiness comes from leading my team. If I'm still feeling excited about leading them, which actually is the feeling that never really fades for me personally, then that is great. But that can't be the only factor that keeps me there, because the other factors will deteriorate and my team won't get the best out of me. But I think about, who I'm working around. Who am I around? My peers, my teammates, the people I lead. How does that feel? And then I check in with the culture and the environment around me. Who am I working for? Do I like how decisions are made? Do I like where the strategy is going? Do I like the direction of where they're going next? Do I want to be part of that movement? Do I not want to be part of that movement? Do I really want to be part of it, but actually that commits me to another 2 or 3 years, and should I just take the plunge now? All of those things are the questions I ask myself. I don't do these things every day and sit down and go, I wonder how I'm feeling. I wonder how I'm feeling. I have reflection points. And normally when I'm talking about my work, I can sense how I'm sounding. Normally when I'm talking to my friends, I'll be like, oh, you've been there a while. Normally I know, because my heart and my head is normally telling me, you're uncomfortable. Something needs to change. I get that uncomfortable feeling. I can't really explain it. It's like an itch that won't go away. And I'm like, okay, I need to do something different. So you will have those things too. But ask yourself those questions. Am I learning new things? Have I achieved everything I wanted to achieve in my job? And when will I be done? You'll never be done, but you'll have to come up with a definition of done. How do I feel about the people around me? And how do I feel about the culture, the environment, who I'm working for, and the direction that we're going in? Answer those questions and they should give you a good sense of direction. If any of those questions are saying maybe it's time for a move, that's enough. Because maybe it doesn't commit to you to moving. Maybe just tells you that you need to start signaling and you need to start thinking potentially about making a move. A lot of people will stay because they're comfortable. They'll stay out of loyalty to a boss or an organization. They'll stay because they think they can't get better somewhere else. And they'll stay because they have been given hope or a promise that a new opportunity is coming, that progression is coming. And I talked about that a couple of episodes ago about, you've been promised things, but they're not materializing. But a lot of people stay because they think it's going to come good. They've got trust in the people around them and the organization around them. And that is valid if that's for them. But that's why a lot of people stay. And that's why so many of us, so many of you feel stuck, because you're banking on things happening and you're banking on comfort and loyalty being the things that move your career forward. Comfort is not a career strategy. Loyalty does not get you paid. Those are the things that you really need to think about and address. And they're the things that nobody says out loud to us. Now, the thing is, once you've asked yourself those questions and you've decided maybe you want to move, you need to figure out how quickly you want to act on that feeling. Remember, feeling ready isn't a thing. Ready is a decision. I never wait until those feelings get stronger to start making moves. I never do that because, like I said, that lack of excitement, that lack of fitting in, that lack of kind of alignment can very quickly turn into, I'm not happy here, can very quickly turn into, I don't like it here, I don't want to show up to work, can very quickly turn into people who complain, who moan, all of those things. What I will say, and one of my first ever bosses, Rumi, if you're listening, hello, said to me, always be quality till your last day. And I've absolutely always said that to my teams as well. Be quality until your last day. Leave your reputation and your legacy on a high. I always leave jobs when I'm on a high. And by that, I don't mean how I'm feeling, because you can't fake feeling. I mean my performance is still on a high. You're not going to see my performance dip. I'm not going to give anybody a reason to say you could tell that she was leaving because she was not performing well. My performance will be on a high. There might be a few people who know I want to make a move. That's my circle of trust. But actually, how I show up with my professionalism, my work, my engagement in the work, and how I'm delivering will always be on a high. So I make sure that I act before any of that can deteriorate. Now, I'm obviously really experienced and I've spent a lot of time learning how to navigate that. Not all of us have got that experience, right? And that's okay. And it's really natural. It's human nature when you're not happy for things to deteriorate. We all have it at home, right? Like you get into an argument with someone and you just, can't be arsed. Like you sit back, you disassociate. That can happen. That's really natural. It's human behavior. Just at work, we're always being watched. Perception is everything. So you don't really want to do that. So you have to start making moves before you get to that level. So when you start getting that feeling, listen to it and start making a plan. So I leave on a high and I always go after I've delivered something meaningful and make sure I look for something that is going to be aligned to the things I like, the things I want to do, the things that I'm good at. Not every move that you need to make needs to be up. Some moves are lateral. I don't like to call them sideways. They're lateral and they grow your breadth. Some roles grow your depth and then some roles go more senior. Every time I've moved, and I've moved laterally loads of times, I've grown in breadth and depth. I've always grown and learned a different thing, whether that's doing big system migrations, whether that's doing conduct risk roles, whether that's doing technology roles, whether that's doing digital roles, whether that's running operational teams. I've always added something to my skills when I've moved. But we have to get rid of this conception that actually I'm not going to move until it's up. Because the thing is, the reason you might not be getting approached or considered for the jobs that are up is because you don't have enough breadth. You might think you're brilliant. You might think you can do everything in your current job. How many jobs can you prove that in? That shows that you've got the dynamism to move up. I knew someone once, right, who, when I met them, like super talented, she was really, really great. And she was saying to me, I'm really good at what I do. I've been doing it for a long time. I really enjoy it. I don't really want to do anything else. But when my boss goes, I want their job. And I said to her, oh, thank you for telling me. That's amazing. How long have you been here? Tell me a little bit about yourself. And it was really clear to me that she was great, but she could only operate in this little kind of circle of work that she's been doing for a really, really long time. She wasn't actually that dynamic. She could be, though, if she moved and did different things. But she was really good where she is. And it was very clear to me that her organization and her previous team had kept her there in that job because she was delivering. Nobody had said to her, the best thing for your career would be to move you to go and do something different so you can add more breadth to your offering. But she absolutely had banked all of her hopes on her career to get in the next job. And so when I went into that team and her manager left, she said, oh, when that job comes up, I'm going to go for it. I said, okay. I didn't create that job again that her manager was doing. To me, it was done. I created a completely different job. I created a completely bigger job and I had changed the kind of core skills that were needed on it. And guess what? She didn't have most of them. Now, I didn't create that job because of her. I created that job because it's what the business needed, what I believed my team needed. But she didn't have the skills to do it because she hadn't moved enough. When that job came up and I gave it to someone who had a proven track record, who was credible, who was already operating at that level, she naturally felt quite disgruntled. And I contacted her and had a conversation saying, hey, look, I know you saw that job go up. Here's who I'm putting into the job. Here's why. Here's the skills it needs. Here's why I didn't create the job and replicate what was here before. Her plan was just that she was going to get the job above. She had no other plan. Just one plan. And so when that one plan doesn't work, when it doesn't stick, then where are you left? You're left feeling unhappy. You're left complaining. You're feeling disgruntled. You're feeling hard done by. You're feeling like the organization isn't right for you. The new boss isn't right for you. You're feeling like they've let you down. You're feeling like you can't trust them. They don't know what they're doing. You know better than them. The new person's not going to know the job as well as you because you've been doing it for a long time. All of that happens, right? The very, very emotional, real reactions that happen. Guess what, though? You can't change what other people are going to do around you. You need to have your own strategy. And putting all your eggs in one basket, having one job, one strategy, one career, the one that's above you to try and move above and move out is not a good strategy. The people above you might never move. They might die in those jobs. I've said that before in previous episodes. I've seen it happen to so many people. Don't make that your strategy. The thing to note is that the opportunities are not always where you are. Sometimes you have to go to them. Do you know how many times I have moved organizations, teams, departments, because the opportunity that I want, the thing that I want, the thing that will grow me, the thing that will get me earning more, learning more, is not where I am. Therefore, I'm going. You are not a tree. You can move. You don't need to stay stuck. And these organizations, these teams don't owe you anything. You owe yourself your career. You owe yourself growth. You owe yourself progression if you want it. And if you're here and you're listening to this, you probably do. You probably think you could do more, deserve more, whether that's promotions, career progression, development, more money, whatever that is. No one's going to give it to you, though. You have to go and get it. And if the opportunity isn't where you are, how long are you going to wait for it to arrive? How long are you going to wait for the opportunity to be handed to you before before you go, do you know what? It's not here. It's over there. I'm going. I'm moving. I'm going to take a chance. And that might sound scary, and I get that it is. I move all the time, and yes, it is scary. But guess what? No one's dead. I'm still here. I only moved organizations or jobs. It's not out of reach, but you have to think about, is the opportunity where I am? If it's not, how long am I going to wait? And when am I going to move if the opportunity is somewhere else? What is holding me back? You need to do the work to figure that out. Remember, hope and comfort, not a career strategy. Waiting for the opportunities to come is going to cost you. So now you've figured out if you need to move, what are you listening to? What's your heart, your mind, your body telling you? What are the kind of things you need to consider? What's happening in your environment? You've done the work on that. Now it's how to make the move, right? So many of us get stuck here because we can't really articulate what we want and where we want to get to. So I'm going to try and break that down and give you a framework that I have tried and tested so many times in my experience as a corporate exec. I've led thousands of people. I talk to so many people who I've helped with their careers about this framework. So let's break it down. The first thing that needs to happen is you don't need to leave a job and walk out to go and get a new job. I'm not asking you to be a drama queen. We do not need to go, oh my God, I must leave my job now. I'm getting this feeling. Everything's not working here. I need to go. You can be in a job and be performing while simultaneously looking for another job. Both things can coexist and happen at the same time. Things that need to be ready. Your CV, make it good, make it up to date. Get some help on it if you don't know how. I can do some posts on it if you are struggling. Let me know if you want that. Go and work on your CV. Make sure it's telling a story. Make sure it's selling you. Make sure you're talking about the best of yourself. Make sure you're using numbers. Make sure you've got your impact on there. Make sure you're looking at it and knowing that if someone else read it, they'd know what you bring to the table. Get people who don't know you to read it. Stop writing it for yourself. Write it for the consumer, the person who's going to read it. Have your CV ready always. The minute I make a decision that I want to make a move, my CV is the first thing that gets updated. The second thing, and I know so many of you are going to roll your eyes and go, yeah, no, I need to do that. I've never done it. LinkedIn. It is a machine. Get your LinkedIn updated. No pictures of you having a selfie at, a brunch with your friends. No pictures of you and your husband when you were out on holiday. No pictures of you in a strappy vest where you're, kind of sitting in the sunshine. Get your LinkedIn working for you. Get the profile picture right. Get your headline right. Make sure you've got all your key skills. Make sure you've got your brief summary about what you bring to the table. And you can secretly turn on the open to work sign if you feel like you want to have a view and get a view of what's going on externally. Your employer won't know, but it will signal to recruiters that you are open to work. By the way, that doesn't mean they're going to approach you and give you a job tomorrow. It means that they will want to maybe reach out to you on DM or have a conversation with you. You can put that on in the background. And by the way, also, putting that on doesn't mean you're going to move organizations. It might just give you a bit of understanding around what is out there in the market. It might give you a bit of understanding around what kind of things people approach you for. What kind of things are recruiters talking to you about? And they might be things you really want. And that means that your LinkedIn is working perfectly. It could be something that's completely left field. It could be roles that are really junior to you. And that might tell you that you haven't pitched yourself right, or your delusion is not where your ability is. Either way, it will give you something to reflect on. So CV, LinkedIn. And then the last thing, conversations with people you know are so important. So what I tend to do is I contact ex-bosses. Because I've moved around so much and my bosses have all moved around, gone into organizations, I have got bosses in so many different organizations. And I would just say, hey, how are you? Should we catch up for a coffee? Or just wanted to let you know I'm starting to think about my next move. Would love to have a catch up. And I'm not asking them for a job. I'm asking them what's happening in their organization. What other organizations do they know that are hiring? I'm asking them, what do they know about what's going on in the market? People tend to know things, right? They have intel. One of the times I contacted an old boss of mine and he gave me a list of exec recruiters to go and talk to. Use your contacts. That's your bosses. What about your sponsors? People who you had a good relationship with who have now left the organization, who have moved on somewhere else. Contact them. If you've got their number, message them. If you've got them on LinkedIn, contact them. And if you know recruiters or people who work in a field that you want to go into, contact them. At my level, exec recruiters do the recruitment. I've got a list of people from all the core exec recruitment firms that I would contact. My CV is ready. My LinkedIn is ready. I send them an email. Hi, blah, 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 blah. This is what I'm about. This is what I'm looking to do. It's time to make my next move. These are the kind of things I'm looking for. I've attached my CV. I'd love to have a conversation with you. All you've done is started conversations. By the way, you don't need to be an exec to approach recruiters. There's loads of recruiters on LinkedIn. You need to do the research, do the kind of networking, reach out to them, get into their DMs, do what you need to do. You don't need to feel guilty for having a CV an open to work on in secret on your LinkedIn, or for talking to people about considering an opportunity. That's like saying you should feel guilty for looking at loads of houses when you've already seen one that you might be considering buying. That's just stupid. Actually, it's like saying that you are living in a house, but you're going to stop looking at other houses because you might want to move. You're not sure you do yet. Isn't that just stupid? You are not disloyal for looking. You are not cheating on anybody by looking. You are not doing anything wrong by looking. You are simultaneously collecting information. Change the mindset. You are collecting information. You are then going to use that information to make an intentional and informed decision about whether you put yourself forward for a job that may or may not be available. You could collect all of these conversations. You could do all of these things, and jobs don't materialize. Jobs might materialize, but you might not want to go for them. You might go for them and you might not get an interview. You might get an interview and might not get the job. Or all of those things could work out and you get the job that you really, really, really want. Stop feeling guilty or disloyal for looking and doing what is right for you. You are not disloyal to your organization, your boss, your line manager, your department. The only person you are being disloyal to by not getting yourself what you deserve is you. You got to start showing up for yourself if you want to get better, if you want to get on. If you hear me on one thing, hear me on that. Okay, so all the pivot stuff is working for you simultaneously in the ether. Let's say then you meet me and I'm like, okay, tell me what you want. What is it you're looking for? And you're like, which is what most people do when I ask them. People very happily tell me what they don't want. I don't want to do that job. I don't want to run a team like that. I don't want to work in that department. I don't want to work for someone like that. I don't want to do this. That's great. That's always a great starting point, right? Start with what you don't want. But to figure out what you want can be quite hard, and I get that, right? So your pitch needs to be what you want and what you bring to the table. So I'm going to tell you my framework that I've been using for years, right? Let me start with this. I don't believe you can be anything you want to be. I don't believe that. Everyone's like, you can be whatever you want. I don't believe it. You can't be whatever you want. Let's say I want to be an astronaut. Don't I need like loads of qualifications? Don't I need to do like lots of math? I'm basing all of this on the movie Hidden Figures, by the way, which is a great movie if you've not watched it. But I might want to be an astronaut. Can I be it? No. You can be whatever you are willing to learn. I also don't believe we should just try and go and do things that we feel we should be doing. Oh my God, I think I should be a software engineer, so that's what I'm going to go and be. What if you hate it? What if you're really shit at it? I think the things that you should go after are a Venn diagram of things I'm good at and the things that I enjoy. There'll be a long list of things you're good at and a long list of things you enjoy. And that Venn diagram in the middle is what you should frame your aspiration, your goals, and your career opportunities around. If you're good at those things, that will continue to build your confidence. It will give you evidence. It will feed your ego. It will feed your soul of like, I'm good at this. Smashing it. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. You're getting the receipts. You're getting the glory. You're building your brag folder. And if you enjoy it, you will show up every day going, I want to do that. I'm having fun. I'm happy. I'm showing up happy. I'm likable for that reason. I have charisma. I have an aura around me. I attract people to wanting to work with me. Those are things that make you undeniable. So stop focusing on I can be whatever I want. What do I want to do? Figure out what you don't want to do. Put that off the list. Then write down what are all the things I'm good at. And you know you're good at because people have told you you're good at, or you've got data and evidence that you're good at them. Not that you think you're good at because once you tried it. Can't be good at something you tried once. Consistently have been good at and have got data and proof points to validate that and feedback and people that would vouch that you're good at those things. And then things that you enjoy, and write those down. You can enjoy things that you're not good at. I enjoy sitting in the car all the time with my husband. I am not good at driving. I have not passed my driving test. Figure out the things that you're good at and that you enjoy. Make the Venn diagram, the bit in the middle. That's your starting point. That's where we're going. Then we're going to use that information to frame how we're going to pitch ourselves. I use a framework called the 3 things framework. Now, before we get into that, I want you to think about every organization that you can know out there that has a brand that you can repeat. So a lot of brands use 3 words. Why 3? Because there's a power between 3. 3 things are memorable. So Nike, just do it. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Tesco, every little helps. And there'll be 100 million more that I haven't thought about, right? If you give someone a list of 10, 12, 15 things that you're going to say about you in a pitch, how are you going to get them to go and repeat those things somewhere else? Remember, when we're pitching ourselves, we're pitching to people who will then go and put us on an opportunity, who will then go and create opportunities for us, who will remember the things we said about ourselves. And when they see something about us, they will go and talk about us. We are saying these things so we can keep repeating them and we get good at saying them, but also so other people can say them about us. That's what I have done really well and I've worked hard to do. I've got good at saying these things about myself, and then when I meet my sponsors or bosses or senior people, they say those things about me. It literally happened a few weeks ago where someone said to me, "You're really good at this." And I was like, He's using the language I've used about me. 3 things framework. Let me tell you what mine is. My 3 things come from my Venn diagram, the bit in the middle, right? And I say them really simply and I articulate them very clearly. I'm looking for, and I've got a proven track record in, solving enterprise-wide complex problems, leading and influencing large teams of people. They don't always have to work for me. I throw that in sometimes. And the ability to use technology and make commercial impact. All 3 of those things are things that I have demonstrated and I've got a proven track record in, and they're all things that I'm good at and I enjoy. I want any job I go to have those 3 things. I'm not too fussed about the job title or the context in which it's in. But if it hits those 3 things, it would be something that I would consider and want to put myself forward for. What's also important to me additionally is who I work for, the culture in which I work, and the direction in which that department or organization is going. What I haven't done here is said, I want this job. What I haven't said is I want that job title. What I haven't said is I want to do X thing in X organization. Some of you might know that. And if you do, all kudos to you. Some of you might go, well, I'm going to work up in a really linear way across an organization. And in some organizations and in some careers and career pathways, that is absolutely valid. For most of us in corporate, we like to be dynamic. My favorite quote is, and I need to validate where I got this, but I read it a while ago, that 85% of the jobs that exist in 2030 haven't been invented yet. If you think about the rise of AI, all of the AI jobs that are being created now weren't there years ago. If you think about my job that I do now, I work in digital and with an app. When I graduated from uni, and I'm not 100 years old, when I graduated from uni in journalism, doing my job was not a thing. You can't prepare for a 5-year plan. People who talk to you about a 5-year plan, I just think is not valid. I've been pushed on that loads, and I'll keep coming back to these are the kind of things I want to do. So if someone says, what's your 5-year plan? Say these things, and I want to build on those skills, and I want to work in organizations like, I want to solve problems like, I want to use technology like. So now when I'm talking to people, I'll say, I want to leverage technology, which was my 3rd thing, to make commercial impact. Now I'll say, I want to leverage technology and AI to make significant commercial impact. That's the 3 things framework. It doesn't come naturally. You have to practice it. Go and practice saying it. But before you practice saying anything, write down a list of everything you don't like and you hate doing. Park that list. Just got it out of your system. Then write down everything you're good at and everything that you enjoy doing. Get the Venn diagram of what's on both lists. That's your framing. You can't be anything you want. And here's the things that you already know how to do and you're good at and you enjoy doing, which is going to bring out the best in you. Now, from those things, figure out what your 3 things are. That takes practice. You need to write it, rewrite it, refine it, rewrite it, and then start saying it out loud. Practice saying it. Say it to other people. Does it make you credible? Start looking at what jobs exist out there that honor those 3 things, externally or internally. That will tell you the kind of roles that are out there. And the truth is, you won't find all 3 at the same level in every single role. One job might have more commercial impact than solving complex problems. One job might have more leading of people than doing, kind of more technology. There's no such thing as perfect. You just need to put yourself forward and go for it. So if you're thinking about, am I feeling stuck? When should I move? Hopefully this has told you about what you need to listen out for. If you're feeling unsure about how you go about it, this has given you a framework of how you do that. These podcast episodes are the starter for this. We can build on this more if you want to. Just let me know across social media and I'll think about how I do that more to give you guys more support. But these things are really important. I'll end with this. What if you did nothing? What if you stayed feeling how you're feeling? What if you took no action? What if you were too scared? You felt too disloyal by looking around, by looking externally? What if you didn't pitch how to talk about yourself? Where will you be in 12 months? And are you going to be happy with that? Are you going to be comfortable with that? How will you have served yourself if you do nothing? Remember, doing nothing is a decision. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I hope it's been helpful, practical, and useful. As ever, I'm here to help. My social media DMs are always open. And if you would like more information on any of the things I've talked about today, let me know. And then I can think about how I bring you more of that because I know this is a big one for all of us to progress forward. Thank you.